Thank you, Chairman Ossoff and Ranking Member Johnson, for the opportunity to testify before you today. And thank you to committee staff whose work made my appearance here today possible. Mothers and sons have a special bond, a bond that no one should ever be able to break. Tragically, in my case, that bond was broken. It was broken by a for-profit medical provider that brought a painful death on my only son, my only child. My son Matthew was scared and alone in the Chatham County, Georgia Detention Center on a nonviolent drug offense. Matthew was suffering from cardiomyopathy, which the for-profit medical provider ignored. Studies show that the prognosis for people with untreated cardiomyopathy is bleak, and Matthew was never given any treatment. The for-profit medical provider had no intentions of treating him because cardiology appointments outside of the jail would cut into their profit margin. One of his jailers called his pain and anguish, quote, unquote, fussy. Matthew knew he was dying. He told me many times by phone and in a single jail visit that, quote, I needed to get him out of here, and that he didn't want to die here. The pure horror of Matthew's voice made me feel as though I was dying as well. Matthew died a slow, painful death over the course of weeks. He was too sick to take phone calls or visits after the one time I got to see him in jail. I never got to hold him, to tell him how much I loved him, or pray with him. The next time I got to see Matthew, he had already suffered brain injury after being resuscitated 3 times by the jail staff. My last visit with him was to take him off of life support, where he was still handcuffed to an ICU bed and under 24/7 supervision by a corrections officer. After 32 years of life with my only son, our bond was broken. And no one, not the health provider, not the infirmary staff, the sheriff's office, or the district attorney was willing to help. They did take time to exact one last indignity upon Matthew before his death, issuing him a personal recognizance bond after he was brain dead. So his death would not count as an in-custody death. Not a day goes by that I don't think of what Matthew went through. In closing, Matthew's story might not be over. I will continue to spread awareness of this problem for as long as I am able. With over 2 million people in our prisons and jails, there are more millions of mothers, fathers, siblings, and friends who are in this same or worse situation. This should not be ignored. That is why enforcement of the Death in Custody Act is so important and could be a tool to hold the for-profit jail and prison medical providers accountable for unnecessary deaths like Matthews and others. I ask respectively to enter further written testimony into the record. Thank you.